Good morning, legends and super legends. Elder here. I'm hooking up with Paul again today. He's the only one that has committed so far. So we're going to go ahead and head out. The usual time is 7. We're going to swing by the ride start to see if anyone else is there. Then we'll head out. I'm going to take the camera. I wanted to just mention that we got a couple of comments from a few legends about the stick. And I know I've never done a review of the stick, but this is the stick basically. There's not much to it. It's a light plastic stick. I think the camera feels bulkier than it is. Even though the camera's like 89 grams. It's a Hero Session. I've got a bigger Hero 5 Black, but I prefer to put the little one on this stick than anything. But it's so easy to manage. Let me clip this microphone. It is so easy to manage. It does not weigh anything. Somebody asked about the weight. And what I do most of the time is I either have it like this. I can even use it in the drops. I can go up at this angle like this to film forward. You can have it like this and see how it fits in my hand, and you can wrap on the bar of the bike. You can have it next to your drop bar and hold it together with the bar. It's not in the way. It does not impede what you need to do. I wanted to just kind of mention that because we had a legend I was concerned about using it on the road. This is the least navigable thing out there. I mean, most riders that are very experienced, I mean, literally you can take off a jacket, put on a jacket. I even mentioned that in my response. It was Joe that was concerned. So there is no issue with safety when we're using this, because this actually integrates with the bars. You put it right next to the bar and hold it. And I kind of wanted to show that. I don't know if you can see it on this bike here. But then you can also lay it next to the tops and hold it. So we change the angle based on what we're doing. But I like to use this angle because then if I'm holding it on the bars, my arm's not in the way. So even if I hold it inside, it still has a clear view of the road. Or if you spin it around, I can hold it like this, and it still has a clear view that way. And it's not behind my arm. So I really like to hold it like that. That's the whole reason for that. So I just wanted to kind of show this stick. The 3-way stick is the best one I've come across. I usually use the regular selfie stick, but I use these mostly when I want to film myself and have more versatility than just a fixed camera position like I have on my helmet there, which is another good way to film. In larger groups, I'll use the camera on my helmet. So that's all I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready and take some shots for you guys today. Should be a lot of fun. Time to roll out, guys. Let's get this thing started. Nice morning. Sun's just barely coming out. It's 2 minutes before 7. I'm running a little behind. Good morning, all. This is the first day with all metric display. 20C is about, I think it's 68, 69. This is when everybody goes out for walks and whatever. This is when you want to get out. It's nice. The temperature's still low. Temperature actually says 69.2. I think it's from the house. It's a little warmer out here, but it's still very nice, very pleasant. So we're gonna pick up Paul and start our ride. I got the timer working, figured out. I'm riding to Colnago today, as you can see. Figured out how to get it working. There is no documentation. It's not the lightest bike in the world, but the ride is awesome. The Garmin Verb software, there's no support for that thing that's really worth anything. It's a free software, so you have to figure everything out. You have to start the camera before you start your head unit for the lap time to work. And that I just stumbled upon it by trying different scenarios. So it took me a little while, but now I know how it works. There's one thing about free software: there's always a price to pay. There's not much support, but it does a good job getting the overlay. Now I can consistently have the lap time on these rides. I actually look forward to the ride with just Paul because we can ride longer than when other people show up. Everybody shows up complaining about not having time. The ride start. He's the only one here, so we're rolling. Legends and super legends, we're rolling. So a little after 7. That's Paul right there. We're headed out. So we're going to be keeping some footage for you guys. I hope you guys have as much fun as we're gonna have. So since nobody else was there, we decided we're gonna do 4 hours today. That's the cool thing about riding with Paul. We get a better workout. From time to time, then you have a front. Now you see how it's bent? Yeah. So you can straighten that stick. Yeah. We decided to do more shots today where we're talking about how you're supposed to look on your bike. And so I want you guys to pay particular attention to, we're going to do a lot of different side shots. We discussed that before we started the ride. For those of you who saw that video on the kilometer conversion, you see 25 kilometers an hour, thereabouts. So half of 25 is 12 and a half, and then you add 2. So 14, 15 miles an hour. So we're doing about 14, 15. We're just warming up. Oh, there's a guy behind us. We had seen him when we rolled out of the parking lot. He's not riding with us. He did not intend to ride with anybody. You know, a lot of cyclists just like to go out on their own. This particular guy we've seen many times. He's always riding solo, so he prefers that. So Paul's giving you guys a side shot here. We're gonna do more of this, but you can see how I'm standing and then I just sit. When your bike fits you, that's how you're supposed to look. There should be no problem standing. It should be just a fluid motion. And it may look easy, but it took me years of practice and working on my form to get there. It's something that I continually work on every time I get on the bike, because pedaling is not a natural motion for human beings, pedaling a bicycle. So you got to work on that. That's why you have to invest in your fit. It's hard to get smooth when the bike is not comfortable. Plus, you're not as efficient. And we'll show some shots where we're in the wind, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're going through the golf course here. So our plan today is to mix it up, endurance, and then we're going to do some speed sections, and we're going to do the Spring Creek Park, where they have pretty good grades. I don't know if we took any shots in there because it's very steep. It's kind of hard to use the camera. So I want you guys to notice how just my legs are moving. My hips are not rolling over. That's how you get saddle sores. When your saddle's too high, you reach for the pedals and your hips rock, and that causes friction. So right now we're doing 27 kilometers an hour. So if you split that, that's about what, 13 and a half, and then you add 3, so 16 to 17 miles an hour. So about 17 miles an hour. That's how you do it. It's really easy once you get used to it. And right now it's about probably 69, 70 degrees, 69. 21C is about 69. And you can see where it says elevation 32 meters. You just triple that to get feet, because it's 3.2 times meters will give you the equivalent in feet. 1 meter is 3.2 feet. So that's what, 90 something feet, almost 100 feet. That's where we are. We're in the northern part of Houston, so it's a little higher because Houston's pretty much sea level, barely. So 34 meters for us. We're uptown. My heart rate belt keeps sliding down, so I'm adjusting it there. I just put on my shades earlier, so getting ready to get into this ride. I forgot it was on my helmet.
Only one person asked me about the nano gel bottles.
Yeah.
I think it was Charles Mad. But anyway, he said, "Oh, I picked up."
Yeah.
So it's really cool having Paul here to work the camera. I've never had somebody film me. I'm always filming other people, as you guys know from the group rides. And so this is kind of good to see. The bike should look like it's a part of your body and you're just moving. If you guys can look how smooth and just comfortable. You have to dial in it. You know, it's not overnight. You have to work at it. You know, that's why fit is important. So if you watch here, my cadence now is about 100. We're going slightly downhill. And I just want you to watch my saddle. When I saw these clips, I thought I'd focus on that. Watch my saddle, how it fits my rear, where there are no gaps, and it's just supporting me. I think there's a point where he gets a better shot here. It'll help you guys know how to sit. The saddle should just be there supporting you. I'm sitting actually in the saddle and just the back. Let me see if he gets a good shot here. Yeah, right there. Look at the saddle. You can barely see the saddle, but it's just supporting. It's in the right spot. When the height of the saddle and your foreaft is adjusted, that's how it should look. And you can see the pads on the shorts are right there. That's why your shorts don't need pads all the way up the back. You need the pads on your sit bones. So the shorts that are made by the better manufacturers, they don't run it all the way back. So when your saddle fits you well, it's easy to pull up. It's easy to find the right stem length, to get your bars in the right spot, because now you're relaxed back there to where you can just easily determine where you want everything else. And you notice just my legs are moving. And if you watch my feet, like I'm scraping, pulling back, using those big muscles in the back of my leg. So we're doing 27 kilometers an hour, thereabouts. 17 to 18, something like that. I was riding on the shoulder because by riding on the shoulder, Paul can stay on the road and we can talk. That's the reason you saw me on that. It got narrow, so I moved over. But we use that. That's not a bike lane. It's just an extra pavement they put on the side of the road to prevent the road from being washed away when we get a lot of rain. So we use that so we can still ride two abreast without taking up most of the lane, and we can talk. So right here, there's a truck over there. We spotted him late, so we stopped for him to go because I really didn't notice him. He'd been there for a while. He really should have gone before that car. So we didn't expect him, but I saw him. So he was waiting to see what we would do, and we just went ahead and stopped. We don't want to give cycling a bad name. So we're still warming up, and right now, during the warm up, I don't pay too much attention to heart rate and all that kind of stuff. What I do is I just make sure I'm easing myself into the ride, going through the gears. You know, just trying to stay smooth, don't hurt the legs. You know, the first 15 to 30 minutes, you want to just kind of go through the gears comfortably. So we're just chatting, you know.
It's hard to find what works. I've been searching because what I'm doing, no one else does, Paul.
I got a legend that put a comment on the site and said his elbow was hurting him and this and that. And it's kind of, I guess people put comments there and expecting an answer because it's hard to give a specific answer when you don't know the background on the other issues, the other fit parameters that a person has. So I just suggested that review your fit first, because you got to start with the saddle. If the saddle's not right, any stem you put in there is really at risk of needing to be changed. And so he was wanting to know whether he should raise his bars to make his elbow feel better, and that's not related. Yeah, at this point there's a car behind us and he's holding our pace. I mean, we're not going that fast. At 22, we're probably doing between 12 and probably 14 kilometers an hour. I mean 14 miles an hour. We're going up a grade here. It just says 1%. It's a drag and we're just warming up, so we're not, you know, this is about 30 minutes into the ride, so we're kind of getting ready to start riding. But he's patiently following us back there, and we don't get that every day. So Paul was wondering, he said, I'm going to keep my eye on this guy. But I think he turned. Yeah, right there he's turning. So that's why he was behind. So he's very patient, because we have a lot of people that in that situation will come around you knowing they're about to turn, and that's just a poor decision. I wish everybody made decisions like he just did. I'm standing here. You can see the bike moving from side to side. All I'm doing is pulling on the pedals. The bike does its own thing. That's not my doing. That's what the bike does. You don't even need to think about that. Now look at my profile here. My hands are on the hoods and I'm just going up and down. Now, that's not super easy. You have to build up to be able to do that for a long time.
Because sometimes for some people when they stand, their legs can blow up, depending on what, you know, condition they're in. So you got to practice that. Everything you see, you have to practice. Because riding the bike is not a natural thing. So you can see my profile here. Unlike a cruiser, I'm not sitting upright. So you know you can hear the wind. I covered the microphone on the camera to kind of cut down wind loss. I did that last winter and it's worked out pretty well. So that's why you don't hear the wind as much, but it's out here. Certain times it will whistle when we change the camera. About here I start picking up my cadence because now it's over 30 minutes. We're kind of loosening up. Yeah, we're going by a little man-made lake here in the neighborhood. But look at this road. Is that beautiful or what? That thing is smooth as a baby's behind. Look at that. Beautiful road. You hear the wind whistling the camera. So we got a lot of wind, and all I'm doing is just keeping my cadence high and using the wind. And you look at my heart rate now going up. Now I'm in zone 2. Now you into the warm-up. You want to warm up zone 2 thereabouts, and then, you know, depending on how hard your ride's going to be, you ease into the upper zones. So I'm keeping my cadence triple digits, 27 kilometers an hour. So we're doing probably about 18 miles an hour. 17, 18 is what we're doing. And look at my cadence. So I check for the stop sign here. It's clear. Early in the morning like this, that's a 4-way stop sign. So I don't clip. I check. It's clear. Nothing's coming. We go because I'm in front. And look at that. Isn't this great? You got a sport where you get to come out and see the sunrise. Look at that. Beautiful morning. Look at that coming through the trees. That's just beautiful. Good job. So we switch camera here.
Switch. I keep the camera rolling.
And Paul takes
cool.
the lead.
Look at this position. Yeah.
So look at Paul. Paul and I met through
we take polls, you know?
UMC group. That's where we met, and then I helped him with his fit, and we just hit it off, and we just clicked. We have a lot of similar interests besides cycling, similar shared beliefs about things, and so we just clicked.
Yeah. Many times, even in the summer, I've seen him on TC Jester in different places.
We're talking about the guy who was riding solo. Somebody running here. So in the morning, there's a lot of people out in this area. We have a lot of triathletes or people running, riding bikes. Lots of athletes live out here. I love it. We go left here. This is another 3-way stop, so everybody stops, but there's nothing coming. Early in the morning, we roll. So if there were a car there, we'd stop, and most of the time the car will wave you through, and sometimes they make mistakes. I caught one of it on this video, and you guys will get to see that. Because sometimes when they should go, they don't go, and it just messes everything up. So now we're getting out on the open road out here.
Yeah. Please.
So there's a car coming, and Paul has more time, so he goes. And so I stop because I don't have as much time because I was behind him. So I wait for the car. And so there's a bit of a gap, and since we're nicely warmed up, and it's like 39 minutes into the ride, it takes me usually 30 to 45 minutes to really get my engine going, especially on a hard ride. That's what I've figured out. I found over the years, and so I'm going up and just picking up the speed, and then Paul hesitates here, and I just keep going. I say, okay, he's gonna have to work to get on my wheel. So I'm doing about 29 kilometers an hour. It's about 19 18.5 to 19 miles an hour thereabouts. So there's Paul. He's gotten on my wheel. I kind of weighted up a little bit for him. And it's muggy, so I open my jersey and the wind's blowing. So that's slowing me down too, but I'd much rather be comfortable than go fast and be hot. So we go downhill, the speed picks up a little bit here. And because of the wind, I'm keeping my cadence in the 90s right now. Whenever it gets windy or it gets difficult, I keep my cadence 85 to 95 and treat it like a climb. Especially if I'm at the front pulling. If I'm in the back, I spin more if I'm drafting. So right now I'm still in zone 2. We're doing about 35 kilometers an hour. That's about 21. We're doing about 20. So 21 miles an hour. This is pretty much where we ride in most conditions. And I'm just moving the camera around, messing around. So it's not easy. We're on it says -0, but it's really flat here. And that wind is blowing. So Paul comes to the front to give me a break. The thing I want to stress, it is not easy. I ride pretty much at least 4 to 5 days a week, and I've been doing it for years. So my fitness is pretty high. So I can do 20 miles an hour and be in zone 2 and be at the front. And that's hard for other people. So that's the thing I want to point out. So that's why I don't like to focus too much on what my heart rate is doing, because my body is at a different fitness level than someone else, and everybody's got different zones and so forth. So right here in the turn circle, that guy was in the left turn lane, so we just took the right because it's just a yield. And the cool thing about turn circle, there's no stop. As long as you have the room, you can go. So it's easy to get through. And here it goes uphill a little bit, just a short drag. I don't know if you'll even register. You can see even the camera picked up
It's in the left lane.
great, yeah, 1%, 1%, not much, but you can feel it. We're going into the wind.
I just kept going.
And our speed have dropped to like 26 kilometers an hour to about 16.
I saw him here one day. I was going along. I saw him all dressed. He went there and then on the way back, we met right here. Yeah.
It's like, when you go and you can use the shoulder, why would you want to ride over there? Shit.
Yeah, we're talking about one of our acquaintances that we used to ride with. We saw him in the bike path, and he was headed in the same direction. I was like, I couldn't figure out why the bike path around here is very twisty. There's a lot of blind spots, so we don't like to use it.
Other people criminals.
Because people are coming around and riding two abreast in the opposite way, and it's about the size of this shoulder, and there's the trees that goes between the trees. It's right to the right of where we're riding, and I don't like to use it much. You can see this little fence, that's the bike path, and it goes to the right, it goes between those trees, and I think it's more, you can see the path to the right there. It goes between the trees, that's a bike path, but it's more dangerous. I'm showing this boulder here. Look, it matches the size of the color of the road. Those are big rocks that somebody left on the side of the road. You don't want to hit those because they can cause you to fall and definitely cause a flat. So you got to be calling things out. So Paul stands up over these bumps. We're headed north, and then we're going to go west to a place called Tomball today. We'll go do Spring Creek Park. There's some high, good grades in that part. So the wind is just keeping me cool here. I don't mind. I know it's slowing me down with my jersey open, but it sure feels good. I'm looking for traffic because we're gonna go left. So I look back
Left turn.
and told Paul, time to go. That's how you get across. You check early and you get over. And then we get to this intersection and the light changes with perfect timing for us. There's no car turning left, so we just go. We've got the left turn lane. The light actually came on, so. Paul comes through to give me a spell. And you can hear the wind. And for some reason, on this ride, it was everywhere. We're headed north right now, and we've got wind. Normally, the wind's behind us. So we switched. I gave Paul the camera, and I was waiting for him to get situated. You guys notice that my socks are red and I've got that red band on my jersey. That was intentional. I was trying to pick out a color from the jersey, and you can see with the red socks and my black shoes, then it matched my Colnago, which is red. So it looks good, it's visible because you got those red socks, and that's how you got to try to put your kit together. You got to look the part. You got to look like you mean business. And now I'm going up this climb here, 3%, 4%, 5%. This is steep. And watch my cadence. 89. I'm trying to keep it close to 90. I did not shift. You can see where my hands are. On the tops. I use force. So my heart rate is barely breaking into zone 3 right now after that effort. Heart rate takes a while to catch up. I may have gone harder than zone 3 as far as what I applied the force to the pedals, but the heart rate just, by the time it catches up, the effort is over. And that's why a lot of people stray to the power meter, because they say the power meter is instant, which is true. So heart rate is great when you're doing steady long efforts, but for short hard efforts it's not applicable. You just got to go by feel, knowing that I'm giving it the gas here. So I want you guys to watch my form. You see just my legs. My hips are not rolling. That's how you know your saddle's the right height. You don't see me shifting around on the saddle. That's how you know your fore aft is correct. Because the saddle feels comfortable, and you can put weight on it and put weight on the pedals and take that off the bars. And when your shoes and your cleats are adjusted right, your feet don't go to sleep. The cleats adjustment is one of the most challenging parts of fit if you don't know what you're doing. So as you improve your fit, you will be more efficient, because you basically don't waste energy trying to anchor yourself. I am sitting in that saddle. It is supporting me. The weight is on my rear and my feet. So my hands are not trying to support my body at all. I just have them resting on the bars to guide the bars. That's the key. If the saddle's not comfortable, you won't be able to put weight on it for a long time. And on these long rides, you will get uncomfortable. That's how you get saddle sores, and you get pressure points that get uncomfortable because something's off. So this is still a drag over here as we turn. This is how I like to climb. I like my hands on the tops, because I don't need to be aero when I'm going up. That's where I climb. It just feels natural. My chest is open, I can breathe. And we're still climbing. It says 0, but it's really more like almost 1%. There. Now it says 1%, 2%. Yeah. We can feel it. I don't worry about it. You can feel it when you're going. And with that wind.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I hear it.
I was telling Paul that his chain was rubbing because it almost like it was in between when he shifted. But it was the cage. We're riding in a small chain ring and using all the gears. And when you get down, you got to move that cage over a little bit. I don't use the smallest, the largest cog with the smallest circumference because it puts the chain at an angle.
Yeah.
It's one of our nice climbs. There's an overpass. It gets up to like 5%. And this is where people like to get excited and die. You know, we're gonna ride this evenly, but I just wanted to show you guys.
These are the kind of climbs that people sometimes, if you shift too early here, you start spinning out, like CV Rivera was saying. You start spinning out. You just need to ride as if to say it's a flat road. Find a gear and just ride. You can shift later. It doesn't matter.
But it's gonna bite. It's a steep
You can see
climb.
my cadence. Right now it's at 93, 94, whatever. It's just a road going up. So I just ride it the same way. Now
At 87, 85, we'll probably go lower, but the gear feels good to me. So I'm not gonna shift yet.
So I can handle the gear, but the grade is changing. You can see right there, look at the grade. This thing got up to like 5 point something. I don't know if it shows up on here.
To keep people from jumping over.
Right now it says 3, but it's a steady grade. This is an overpass they built to go over the railroad tracks below.
So we're on 5%
And so
right
it's
here.
long. It's a nice climb. And when the group would come through here, it's a separator. You
Right
attack.
at 70, 69. But it's almost over, so I'm just going to stay here.
So my cadence
The gear feels okay.
for a little bit dropped below 70, but didn't stay
You
that
see my
long.
cadence going up as the grade lessens.
And I'm not gonna shift. I'm just gonna keep spinning. As the grade lessons, I just spin
felt good.
and increase my cadence.
So you can use the hills to get your effort up. So you don't have to psychologically.
Yeah, you don't have to push yourself on the hills. The hills will push you. That's one reason I head out in the hills often.
The hill will push you.
It makes you strong. You just go out there, you go up the hill. You don't need to think about it. You put force on those pedals, you can hit zone 4, before your heart rate even tells you you're done. So we're going downhill, 22 miles an hour. We're gonna head west here. We're headed south. We're gonna turn right and head west to a town called Tomball.
That's how you climb those hills by yourself, so that when with the group, then you can go harder if you want to, but at least you get to know what the hill is doing instead of killing yourself all the time, especially before the stop sign.
Yeah, you can never train as hard as the group will go, so don't bother killing yourself. Just condition yourself.
Yeah. It will come across.
When it's time to go with the group, you will be eager because you didn't kill yourself all week. Had a legend come on and just typed. I don't think he even subscribed, so I really wouldn't call him a legend. He was a visitor. He said he was doing 2 to 3 intervals a week and then riding 4 to 5 hours on Sunday. He said he's tired. He saw little improvement. You're tired. That's why you're not improving. You need a rest. He asked me if he was doing too much. It's not enough information, but I told him 2 to 3 intervals a week. The pros don't even do that. 2 to 3 interval sessions. And he didn't tell me how many intervals he was doing in those sessions. So yeah, it was sketchy information, but you don't need to do that many intervals. One of the interval sessions should be the group ride or whatever, your Sunday ride. 2 to 3 a week, that's too much. I might go hard once a week, but I go really hard. You don't need to be killing yourself. It's a race with guys that would win all the training rides and show up to the race and get dropped because their legs were dead. You gotta know what you're training for. You gotta have your goals. So yeah, we headed west to Tomball.
I can sense, man, that guy on the back, as soon as he saw the camera, he pulled back.
Oh.
Yeah, Paul was saying there was a car behind us, and the guy saw the camera and he backed off. Just fine. If the camera makes them behave, I'll bring it out on every ride. Every now and then we get some yahoo acting crazy. Switching cameras here. This is how you guys should look on your bike. You need to look smooth. It's not going to be overnight. You got to work on pedaling. You got to work on what I call smooth spinning, where you're scraping the bottom and pulling back and kicking over, because you use all the muscles in your legs. That's the only way you'll be able to ride often and not be too fatigued. If you watch my legs here, watch my feet. Look at that. Like the pedals are just like I'm slapping them like slippers, like flip-flops. Look at that. You hear the camera? That's the wind we're going into. And for me, I don't worry about it. I just go get to the business of riding. Let the wind do what it wants to do. I don't worry about it too much. Your speed will go down, but it's the effort that matters. I'm staying right at the top of zone 2 right now, for me anyway. So I just want you to watch my feet. It's like I'm slapping the pedals like flip-flops. When your cleats are adjusted and your shoe fits your foot, that's it. You ride for hours in comfort. Every now and then, early in the ride, my feet might swell, but I just loosen the straps. Once my feet settle, because when you exercise, I guess you get more blood flow. Once my feet settle, I don't have problems. Look at my feet. Look at how the pedals look like they're moving freely. So my knee is tracking naturally. Nothing's pulling at it. It's really important. These are the hardest things to do in fit if you don't know what you're doing. That's why I don't fall for those red tool and the fit kit and all that stuff. People need to ask you, and you need to give them feedback and say, yeah, this feels good. You should, when they fit you, you should feel good immediately. There's no growing into it or riding into it. You should be comfortable right off the bat. Most riders have their saddle set too high, and then you can't spin. You can't pull back. You can't scrape that mud off the bottom of your shoe. We're turning left here. There's a 4-way stop sign. I check. It's clear. We roll. I'm stressing that because every time you get on the bike, you need to consciously work on your pedaling. That's why I always tell people I don't just ride, I train. That's what I mean. You should be training your muscles, your brain, the whole neuromuscular system to pedal, because that's not a natural thing. It's a constant thing that you work on. If you just go and ride and you don't work on things, then you're not going to improve over time. I mean, you may ride fast, but you might use more energy than you need to. Right here over the tracks, I rolled by Paul. I wanted to film him from the front, so I got the camera in I think it's in the drops there. Sometimes I'll ride with one hand in the drop with the left one on the top. I don't know why I do that, but I do that. Everything just feels right. So we're turning right here. We're going west now. We had been going south. So we got to the 4-way stop sign. We had the right of way. We turned right, and those guys are coming. So I make sure that I'm sitting where their right tire right, because I want them to move over. This road is too narrow to have them pass me in my lane, and that guy kind of takes the hint, and so does this guy here. but they're not going anywhere. There's a stop sign right there where you see that yellow sign. There's a stop sign there. For some reason, when drivers see a bicycle, they act like they have to pass, like the planet's gonna explode if they don't pass right this second. And here he is, right here. Hurry up and wait, we call it. You know. So we have the right of way here. So I went ahead and just rolled and pointed at that guy, thanked him. Gotta make sure they see you, even with the right of way. Some of these guys don't pay attention. The strap on my shoe came off, so it was loose for some reason, I'm not sure. And so I just slapped the Velcro back in place. You can hear the wind. Every direction today we had wind. Things just blowing. Now look at my profile. I'm not even fully aero. I'm just sitting on the hoods. This is what I talk about, a road position. That's your position. You should not be sitting upright. It's not more comfortable. That's comfortable. It doesn't matter what your body shape is, unless you've had some kind of injury that prevents you from sitting in that position. I get frustrated with all these new bikes that I see mountain bike stems on where they're pointed way up in the air. It's not necessary. You need to be at 90 degrees with the road as far as your stem should place you parallel. Now here's the guy on the left. We're stopping. He's there already. He starts to go. Then he stops.
Go, man. Come on.
So I turned behind him. Then he had the nerve to put his hand up in the air like he was trying to help us. That's the kind of stupidity. There was a car behind us waiting to go. He's in the middle of the intersection and stops to be nice. That's stupid. You're breaking the flow of traffic.
He's right in the middle of the road. He's right in the middle of the road and he stops.
That's what Jesse Ventura said. The average person, he said the average American is a moron. You know, so there are no average people on our channel. So, you know, it doesn't apply to you guys. But Jesse Ventura, I don't know if you guys remember him. He was in Predator, and I think he was the governor of Minnesota. And he was on some interview, and he said the average person is a moron, dumb enough to be governed. You know, so every time I see our new president, I just wince. This guy is like, I was hoping he would. Anyway, I don't want to get into that, but he really embarrasses us every day. I don't know. And that guy, I had high hopes for him. And he just, he's proved that money doesn't make you smart. Anyway, back to cycling. So here I'm going up the, standing to just finish this little grade here. We're coming to an intersection. I just want you guys to see how everything just looks easy, because it is. It feels easy because I've worked on it for years. And that's why I talk to people about, you know, I was fortunate enough to have a coach when I raced, and so I learned, and then I read, applied what he taught me, you know, and I followed the top riders in Europe over the years and emulated some of their styles and, you know, reverse engineered stuff and put it together, and that's what it takes. You know, I love this sport, so every day I work on it, every day, constant. So there's a bump in the road here, so I move across the opposite lane. Nothing's coming, but it's like I don't know what happened down in that spot, because this road is normally smooth. Look at these roads. These roads are beautiful. We're in Tomball here. We've already stopped and we've refilled our bottles. Around here, Paul starts messing with his helmet, and I couldn't really hear him, so I just started coasting. But it turns out he has a bug in his helmet. So I look behind, I see he's falling back. He's sitting up and trying to undo his helmet, and the wind's blowing.
Do you need to stop?
So I can't really hear him, so I'm just kind of coasting and waiting to see. what's going on with him. Because that wind just blowing. The wind kept us cool, so I'm not complaining. So you can see my heart rate has dropped to zone 1 because I'm just coasting, waiting on Paul.
I got a bug.
You got a bug in your helmet?
Yeah, and then I can hear it crawling up there.
Oh yeah. If you need to stop with stop situation like that, if you can't get it off without, yeah, that's not a problem.
Because he was trying to get his helmet off and no hands with that wind. You got to be
Sting
careful. That's what he was dealing with. So he got it sorted out. We're almost 3 hours into the ride. Didn't even feel like 3 hours. We're having so much fun. So this is another three-way intersection. Nothing's coming. Most of these roads are deserted. We check and we go. So we basically plan our rides on these less traveled roads, farm to market roads, and so forth. No industry. And then this is Saturday morning, so you know. But these roads are like this every day of the week. These are the same roads I did the Rafa Challenge on. Sometimes. So you guys can see how the stick mates with my brake hood. And, you know, Joe was concerned about, you know, safety on the road or whatever. So this is a good shot to show you guys that the stick is easy to use. It has a rubber handle. You can see me turning around. And look, I'm doing it backwards. That's why I make it 90 degrees. So it sits up and it can get a view. It's easy to handle. So if you can do no hands and whatever, and you're comfortable on your bike, you can do this filming. You got to be comfortable on your bike. If you notice, I did not take my hand off the bars because it's windy. I've got a tape on the speaker on this camera. You can still hear the wind.
And we're on the home stretch.
This is 2920 Farm to Market Road, FM 2920. I love it because it's always windy. And after the hills, this is where I like to go hard because I like to go hard at the end of the ride, not early. So you can see the stick just sits there and it films. It's really cool. It's easy to use. Lightweight. It's good. And they did a good job. Good design. I don't know what it's selling for. I don't know if it's 50 bucks or something, but I got it in a package with the Hero 5 Session, the bigger camera. So I have two of these. I have the Hero Session and the Hero 5 Black. I'm sorry. The Hero 5 Black is the regular shaped GoPro. What we're using today is the one that looks like a cube. The Hero 5 Session is what we're using. It's so small and inconspicuous. Paul's sitting at the front. He's pulling. The wind is coming from our face and to the right. So I'm sitting a little to his left. It's a good sized shoulder, so he's staying to the right so I can have some shelter. You can see there's not much going on. It's the temperature has gone up 33 C. We're in the 90s now. It's like 91 or 93, something like that. So we started, it was 20 C, which was like 68, almost 69 degrees. It's gone up quite a bit. So right here, he flicked his arm and I rolled through to take over at the front. And there's a light coming up there. There's a traffic light. And I got my eye on it. You're gonna hear him tell him that we're going, because right before we got there it turned yellow and I kicked it so we could get through. Got a nice rhythm going. So I told them we're going. We got through just as it changed. So we're 33 kilometers an hour, so it's about 20 and a half miles an hour right now. And we're just rolling. That wind is blowing from my right and in my face. And every time we come on this road, we just put our heads on, just go. There's something about this road. So 163 beats per minute. I'm entering zone 4 now. And for me, it still feels easy. I don't really start working until I get to like 171, which is the top of zone 4, almost zone 5. So right here is almost like sweet spot training for me. It's one of the few places where they actually put a bike lane for maybe, maybe what? Is that 10 yards, 20 yards, and just enough to go over the overpass. But they made it wide. It's nice and wide. They had taken away our shoulder when they put, this is a tollway we're going over. They made a tunnel and took away our shoulder. This is the shoulder here. They took it away, so they came back a few weeks later and added that. I thought that was nice. It's wide. It's okay. So I was waiting for Paul to get the camera settled because I switched with him. And whenever I train, I really emphasize my endurance, whether it's high-speed training, whatever, meaning that I've always trained to where at the end of the ride, I want to be able to do my best at the end. So I always did my intervals at the end of the ride when you're tired. Because in the races, that's when it matters. That's when things happen. The final kilometers. So now in this ride, I plan on just sitting at the front and working with this wind. The wind is coming from my right and in my face. And with 32 kilometers an hour is 20 miles an hour. And the cadence, let's see, 90. So right now this road is very rough. So I'm keeping my cadence low. I'm in an 81-inch gear. I'm in a 39-13. It's an 81-inch gear on a small chainring. I carry a 12, so I'm not in the 12. I don't ride in the 12. That's an extreme angle for the chain. It's not efficient. But by keeping my cadence around 90, it gives me more stability. Because this road, it just rained a little bit. You can see the little damp spots. And it's bumpy because all these apartments you see on the right, all the trucks that built them, they chewed up the side of the road, the shoulder, and they never came back to repave them. So there are sections where it's very rough. I mean, just really, really rough, like a divot in there, just rough hole. So you'll see I will stand, I'll point it out to Paul and then stand to get through there because you can get pinch flats because the pavement is not even. It's almost like riding in gravel. I'm checking for traffic. I was gonna move over, but there's cars coming. So you see I waved and I stood up. This is what I'm talking about, right? I don't know if you can tell. They chewed up the pavement and it's too rough, so you stand. Because if you sit, it can compress your tire, and those little pointed stones that they exposed can cause you to have a snake bite flat, what we call pinch flats. I'm standing just to keep the gear rolling. I was letting Paul know there's some dirt on the road and looks like mud or whatever. Whenever possible, you avoid that. You don't want it sticking on your brakes or whatever. No reason for it. And this wind is vicious. You can see my heart rate now, 162. I'm right at the bottom of zone 4. And this is where I do a lot of my training. That's when I'm going hard. I call it sweet spot. But it prepares you if you need to go, like when I do a time trial, I'll go 20 beats faster than this. But for training here prepares you for harder efforts because you're outside of tempo and this called sub-threshold. You're right below your threshold. You don't need to know exactly where your threshold is. You just need to be in that area and you get a lot of good benefits on your hard days. So we've done almost 4 hours and now is when I'm going hard. So you can hear it's quiet for the camera because Paul is behind me. But look, I'm trying to stay low. I'm trying to keep my body low because we're going into the wind. you should be able to ride in these positions with comfort. If you notice, I lower my torso. I'm sitting exactly in the same spot on my saddle. I know, I always watch the pros that slide forward. I've never been one of those riders. I am anchored. Paul got a good shot here. You guys can see how I sit on my bike. And now, yeah, that's a very comfortable position as far as just resting momentarily. Feels almost like aero bars, but it bothers my elbow, so I don't stay there too long. I like the drops. And I can stay in that position all day. You see how I just got up with no problem and just sit right back down after that effort just to kick it up over that little bump. I didn't want to shift. That's how you should look on your bike. So when you ride, visualize it. Visualize pushing down, scraping, pulling back up. Just smooth. That's what it takes. You don't need to be thrashing to go forward. I'm not going at maximum speed. I might be 70% maybe, if that, 60-70%. And that's what they mean about having good form. You stay under control. You don't want to pedal squares. When they talk about pedaling squares, meaning you lose your form. You've gone so far into the red that your pedaling breaks down. You don't want to get there because you're teaching your body how to ride the wrong way. That's what I mean when I say stay within yourself. Let the group go. If you watch, I don't know how many of you guys followed like Lauren Jalabert and some of the other guys. They would be riding and they would look like they're sitting and playing poker. I mean, you couldn't really tell that they were going hard. But then all of a sudden, they would get dropped. But nothing changed. They looked the same and everything. And it always used to puzzle me.
Good ride, good filming.
Because they just let everybody go.
Wrapping up this ride. It's been an epic one.
So this is the home stretch here. Paul turned off and went home, and I'm just rolling in right around
at this point,
18, 19 miles an hour.
That we got, but by now, you guys have seen them. So that's the key. So
this was Saturday. And I like these rides because we can go as long as we want. You can see a little over 4 hours. When other people show up, they complain about not having time. So Saturday is when I can live the life of a Euro pro. Get my miles in. That's how you're supposed to do it.
That's very good time.
During the week, I can do an hour here and there. That's it. Weekends, you got to put in more time if you want to improve.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the clips that we had. And I hope
that
you
was
got
Saturday.
A chance to get some miles in. It was not as warm as I thought it would be, so that was a nice change. Nice and pleasant today.
All right, legends. Till next week. Keep riding. Get out there. Work on your form. Look the business.